I found this improved JSON parsing speeds. This is for the Azure CPI.
Yeah, exactly. So this rolls currently out on downstream landscapes on our side. We would see how stable it is and potentially the improvement. And then we could provide that information and then consider it going in or not into the.
So I was thinking it is pretty cheap to actually put this behind the toggle, right? Configuration option, make it like a CPI configuration thing. Opt in. Because then, like, if we can make it opt in, then there's like no, then we can just PR it now, and there's like there's no risk basically. It would be opt in, and then it's fine. And then like as soon as you have like more confidence and know that it's fine, then we can maybe change the default at a later time.
Yeah. On the other hand, it broadens the configuration surface, and I always wonder whether we want that. So what would be the trigger to make it the default, for example, or would we forever maintain then both ways, so to say?
Yeah, I mean, it's not I understand your concerns. It's more like that I know that our customers want like long stability, right? So this is it's a change that on the surface looks really simple and small, but it could be like weird ways in which this breaks.
Yeah,
which is something I rather not roll out to customers. I mean, we have like a 3.0 release, right? So it would be something we change there or something, right? Then we change the defaults, but not in like a patch release.
Yeah, totally fine for me. Yeah, it always depends, I guess. What's currently where you optimize, right? Do you want to reduce the configuration surface, or do you want stability? So I understand both concerns, and I'm totally open how we bring this in. So just in the past, we had situations where we were then asked to not have a property, but instead prove that it's working and have it in. So I'm really open for both ways.
Yeah.
And we have a fork where we currently put it into production. We learn from it, and it's no problem to bring this upstream then behind a flag, and that we would then use once it's released.
Yeah.
What it actually helps with, by the way, is to do quick performance comparisons without much effort, because you can just enable or disable it via the configuration property.
Yeah. Okay. Show all fields. So let's go over the rest of the board. So there's something Nats related. Yeah, I still need to review this one. This is a big one.
So with this, so in Bosch we use a fork of Nats, right? Is that still true?
Yeah, we have a private fork, or not private, but we have a fork that has some like special logic to authentication based on certificate names or something.
Yes.
That's how that like go here. And then there's something, jobs, nats. So all this that you see here is bespoke BOSH fork stuff. So that this whole client ID gets interpolated with something from the certificate, the common name or something there. That's where it gets the client ID from. So all that doesn't exist upstream. So what we do instead now with this PR is that we write out a Nets config file dynamically. So you can reference other config files. So I think one is static and one is dynamic, and then that's where we keep the list of users, and then you can send a signal to Nets to get that configuration or load that configuration. And that way we achieve the same authorization features that we have in the fork, but then we are on a way newer version of Nets.
But you would still be on the fork, or?
No, this is like upstream Nets.
Okay, and we could get rid of the fork basically.
Yeah, there's no fork anymore.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So we will be upstream again.
Yeah.
And this will also in the future maybe potentially we have been thinking about like short this is more like still in like design or like ideation, but we have had requests of like wanting to be able to the Nets credentials that we inject through the metadata to be able to invalidate those after initial use, right? So you basically bootstrap a node and then immediately rotate its Nets credentials through Nets, so that the secrets in the metadata servers are not valid anymore.
Okay, yeah.
That is a thing that often comes up with security audits.
Yes.
I mean, the scope of things that you can do with those credentials is pretty limited, but still, it's better if we can say they are only valid for like the initial minute of the VM's lifecycle.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Being able to sync these credentials, have more, to be able to have more control of that, right? We would be able to, like, if we write out those credentials all the time, that file, it's not credentials, it's like, I think it's identities or something that are in that file, but it doesn't matter. If we sync those all the time, then we can also start invalidating them more easily.
Yeah.
So that would be like further down the road, but this work opens that up in the future.
Yeah, interesting.
But yeah, I still need to review that. I did the initial explore on this and then went to the team to work on it. So it will be nice to see what they come up with. So that's a big change that will probably have some, I don't know, impact. It's a totally different version of Nets. So
yeah,
who knows what
that's just a tricky change.
Yeah, they are doing the same on the CF side.
Yeah. Yeah, we can definitely provide then findings at scale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I went through most of it like yesterday and this morning.
Okay.
This one is the biggest.
Oh,
and I don't think we should look at it, but people with way more BOSH knowledge.
Okay, so you're saying I should unassign the both of you and assign someone else?
Well, I looked at it and I gave already one suggestion for tests, but what was it? I think, was it something else? Maybe it was something else.
Aram is now a reviewer. So I will unassign you, Ramon. Felix, do you feel comfortable reviewing these changes?
Well, so I will be on vacation for 3 weeks. If it's still a thing, I could look at it. I'm surely also have a lot of gaps, but I mean, certain proposals I might have. So I don't want to be on the critical path, but after those 3 weeks, maybe if it's still open, I can have a look.
Okay.
It's a pretty big change, so.
Yeah.
I'm gonna unassign you because we're having to wait for 3 weeks for reviewers.
Yeah.
This is a relatively small change, I think. Yeah. This seems like an SAP issue, right?
Yes and no. So it's definitely an issue we have seen, but we think it's I think it's actually not the right behavior what BOSH DNS currently does, because it hides really server fail errors from upstream recursors and converts into an NX domain, which basically says, look, we are pretty sure the server does not exist, but actually the upstream DNS server, the domain does not exist, but the upstream server said, look, I'm currently not able to resolve it because I have an issue. So, and for us, it was a situation where a customer was basically resolving a domain name that existed, but the upstream DNS servers of their host or whatever had intermittent server fail errors, and we were hiding it in the platform. And so we definitely need it, and we think it's the right thing to don't map it to NX domain. But the reasons that was introduced was complicated things with, then it will retry to the recursor and resolve conf, which is the same one. And apparently VMware customers were having issues with that. So I'm not sure what that means for you, but we think this is the right behavior.
And we already used stops, right?
Say that again, Ramon?
We already used this fix in SAP, right?
Not yet.
Okay.
Well, on staging landscapes, but so we will only roll it out on live in 3 weeks or something. So 2 things. We can at some point in time say it's working well for us or not, but the general discussion is, I guess, required. What that means for you.
And how is this
and all the broader community? So this is related because we also were facing timeouts, and in timeout situations, it also maps to NX domain. So I think it's actually a different topic, a slightly different topic, because you can argue for timeouts, you might want to have different behavior. So this time it's really, if we get server fail from upstream, we also return server fail to the client.
Okay.
So maybe you can discuss it on VMware side with someone who is more involved in Bosch TNS, come up with an opinion, and we can deliver then in 4 weeks maybe experience from production with it. And then we can think of whether this can go in, or you might need a flag for it, or I don't know.
I mean, it seems logical, right? Why would you want to hide this error?
I think so too, but yeah.
but I don't have a lot of context on Bosch DNS. So yeah, I will ask around. Let's see who is assigned to work on this. Okay. This is just evaluating these changes, right?
Someone needs to test if this works on a Mac. I don't have a Mac, and neither does Konstantin.
Don't you have an SAP Mac?
Yeah, I only use it for stand-up.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to talk about it. He's not comfortable with that part of himself yet.
I have 2 MacBooks.
So Ramon, I understand it's your phone, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Migrate to Jammy stem cell.
Yeah, that was for the Jumbox. I put it in there, and there's only a CI change, so it will automatically pick it up.
If we repipe, right?
Yeah, it needs to be repiped, and then. But I asked it in the channel, and they. Yeah, does it fix anything? Does it do anything? Yeah, no, but we pump.
Okay.
By the way, we will go at least with the directors live with Jamie, I guess, in 3 or 4 weeks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I hope I will still say that in 4 weeks.
But it's already running in staging?
Yes.
That's and that works.
That works, yes.
That's good.
Yeah, I've been using Jammy with the Bosch director, setting up temporary Bosch directors for a while now. I've not seen any issues.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I think App Autoscaler also apparently works. And yeah, this one is just, I added a little bit more context. So CreateEnv doesn't seem to work for heavy stem cells on AWS. It apparently requires to run from an EC2 instance, but at least from our Jumpbox EC2 instance, it also did not work. So I don't think it's an issue for us now. We will work around it by creating Bosch Light stem cell upfront. But yeah, I'm not sure for whom this is working really. So,
but can you use a heavy stem cell when you upload it to a director?
Yes, that works.
Yeah.
It's only in create scenario. Yeah.
And what OS version is the Jumpbox running?
So that was on a Focal, I think.
Yeah, it probably hasn't been tested with that.
No, but Bionic also doesn't work, so it doesn't matter. It's not OS related. It's been an issue for a long time, and just no one looks at it because everyone is using light stem cell. Because why would you use a full stem cell?
Yeah, it has to do with like the way you need to convert or upload a heavy stem cell, right? It needs to create an EBS volume and then map it to the machine and then copy the data from the heavy stem cell over.
Yeah, and it tries to connect to the metadata service for that, and from your local, that's an internal IP address. So once you're doing that from your local machine, it just doesn't work. I even think it doesn't go through those Bosch commands. Maybe it doesn't go even through the Jumpbox if we set up a Jumpbox first for Bosch CreateEnv. I don't think it uses the Bosch all proxy. Maybe
Felix was saying that they were running it from a Jumpbox, right?
Yes, from Jumpbox, and also from, so it's always from a container in Jumpbox, of course, and okay, also from a Concourse worker. Yeah, and also Concourse containers. So both failed.
Yeah, but I'm like, it needs to be able to find the mount point, right? Like that disk gets mounted to the existing instance. That's the idea.
Okay.
Because it needs to copy over the data to like a raw volume.
Is it documented somewhere what exact requirements do exist? I mean, for us it's okay. Probably like it just cannot work in ours. Yeah, it probably cannot run in our scenario entirely. Yeah. So as I said in the ticket, we will probably just create a light stem cell beforehand, before we use it in the context of a landscape. But yeah, maybe it makes sense to at least reference some documentation in the ticket and potentially close it. Yeah.
So there is this, I think there's what's it here? Copy something. Where was that? There was like a file that a script that was executed. Is that in the director package? Or it's in the Azure of AWS CPI.
Yeah, probably. I have to drop off. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
So, but for that issue, I mean, that was our scenario, and maybe if it's not an issue based on specific docs, we can close it. Otherwise, someone who stumbles over the same issue has a pointer where they can look.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
There's someone at the door. I need to go.
See you then all. Bye-bye.
See you guys later.
I'm back.
Gezellig, dat was snel. Are we still recording?
No, yeah, I think so. where can we find this information? There it is. Okay. Do you have any context on this?
No, I'm just seeing this. Seems like an issue with the Prometheus, but to me it seems more like that that the cert he is using is having some weird characters in
it. Why?
So I understand it. Data store is direct file store, so maybe it does, and he's talking about certificates. So I'm just thinking. There's also a nil class value. It should not have nothing to do with. And we deploy BOSH directors on AWS, Azure, and AliCloud all the time. So I don't know.
But are you all using the metrics, the API metrics endpoint?
Me personally, not. I think SAP is, because they're using Prometheus heavily. So. And then we need to test this out locally. Assign me, I will test it. You drag me into it.
You are too kind. Okay.
Someone with VMware experience?
Yeah. I think this will be something Connie maybe can help with.
Seems like a rate issue to me. I don't.
A rake?
Rate.
Like, rate. Yeah, rate
limit. It's explicitly said exceeding a request rate of 100 times per second.
Mm-hmm.
So he needs to use the throttle. There are throttle mechanism in the CPI. Yeah, I think maybe Connie needs to look at this, or someone else with in-depth vSphere and has an actual vSphere which you can use. And they're still using Xenial, so not my thing.
I see. Yeah, this is probably a VMware customer.
It's also.
Oh, Connie already looked into it.
Oh, 20 days ago. Okay. Oh, then, I mean, fine. Keep.
Okay. Well, it's again this same old story. Wash is breaking an IaaS because it's doing 32 VMs at once.
Yeah, that's not weird. How big are those deployments if you do 32 at once? Or is it just you have, or just enabling deploy all VMs at once option?
I think it's just an initial deploy or something. A big deployment. It creates all the VMs. Like if you're doing a greenfield deploy with like 100 VMs, and it just goes full out.
Well, you have the canary first, right?
No, but this is creating the VMs, not updating.
Oh, okay.
Right, so it creates them all at once.
Thought that was also throttled. That it first does only the canaries and then.
No.
Yeah, he didn't spawn it. There was not much info to go on here. It's not even a Bosch thing. It's with CF. So I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it is a Bosch thing. Yes, it's a cleanup. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Overlooked it correctly.
I will create a story for this in the bug in the backlog to look at this.
Yeah, but it would be nice if we know which version and which director, so we can and logs.
Sure. Would be helpful. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I will release the stem cells with the last kernel CVEs that we got yesterday, but it was so busy.
Yeah, we're a lot, right?
There were so once, and I thought, oh, now it's done, and then 2 hours later, bam, again, multiple CVEs for the same thing probably. So I just waited till some packages get upgraded properly. So I will deploy that.
Okay. Thanks for joining.
See you later.
See you later. Bye.